The Manhattan City Commission on Tuesday heard budget requests from outside agencies after changing their originally scheduled work session into a special meeting. RCPD Director Brian Pete updated the commission on the city's financial burden for 2025. The police board oversees the Riley County Police Department, which is jointly run by the city and county governments. The budget was set on June 17th by the board. The city and county governments are now required to fund it. The city pays about 80% of the budget and the county pays 20%. Director Pete spoke about the budget increase.
We want to make sure that we stay extraordinarily humble to the current situation, but the budget, the approval of the budget was roughly, I believe, $1.8 million to the Riley County Police Department. All of that money is going towards the salary.
He added that everything else went towards health insurance costs, fuel, and also operational costs. Commissioner Karen McCullough said the increase is worth the community safety.
I think it's important that the public understand that the fiscal impact to the city of Manhattan is about $1.4 million, which is a lot of money, but we do value our police department and the people working in it. So it's good that you bring us those numbers showing that we're really trying to keep things down in Manhattan, that we are really seeing pretty low crime rates. Generally, I think the police are doing a great job.
Officials can reduce a budget but can't increase it if it's once published. We'll have Director Pete on In Focus tomorrow morning starting at 9:06. Evergy customers woke up early Wednesday to find themselves without power as storms moved across the area. As of this morning at around 5:40, a little under 33,000 customers remain without power in northeast Kansas. Manhattan was hardly affected by these outages, with a little under 5 customers affected by the storms. Well, Topeka has seen the most with around 12,000 outages this morning. Silver Lake also reportedly had several trees and power lines down on Wednesday morning due to the storms. Evergy estimating that around 1.6 million customers have been served. Fort Riley hosted the 3rd Armored Corps Best Squad competition this week, with final challenges wrapping up this morning. The event brought together 12 squads from 3rd Armored Corps units and competed in a series of challenging events over the course of 4 days. All squads were graded, and the winning squad will compete in the FORSCOM National Best Squad competition later this year. We'll have more on that story later today as soldiers finish up the competition and official results come in. The Kansas Turnpike is set to turn to cashless tolling next Monday. KTA says the transition will be seamless as converting to the new system will occur during the overnight hours on July 1st. However, the back office system will take time to transition as the KTA offices will be closed from this Saturday, June 29th to next Sunday, July 7th. KTA CEO Steve Hewitt said in a statement that the transition to cashless tolling provides a, quote, more safer and more efficient customer service while keeping toll rates some of the lowest in the country. The full transition will be completed by Monday, July 8th for the website. Drivers that need to pay the toll administration during the interim can still pay during the month of July without any issues, according to the administration. KTA also reminded drivers that use cash on the toll road on June 30th should follow instructions, as there will be signs posted giving them information. The Poly Ogden DAR chapter is set to host the American Revolution Experience starting next Tuesday, July 2nd at the Flint Hills Discovery Center. This innovative exhibit is a collaborative project between the American Battlefield Trust and the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. The exhibit will include unique displays and interactive digital kiosks that use storytelling, illustration, technology, and unique artifacts, as well as primary accounts to connect modern audiences with the people and places that shaped the birth of the nation. Riley County Historical Museum Executive Director Catherine Hensler says the museum is delighted to partner with the Poly Ogden DAR.
The Riley County Historical Museum is delighted to partner with the Poly Ogden chapter of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution, promote a new and exciting traveling exhibit designed to educate about the American Revolution and begin to prepare for a nation to celebrate the United States semi-quincentennial.
Hensler also explains why this exhibit is important.
History happens every day, and I think it's really important that we're always paying attention to that. But all too often, Americans of the 21st century forget that American independence was won on the battlefields by brave volunteers willing to sacrifice everything for an ideal, a hope, and a promise of liberty.
The event will be open from July 2nd to July 10th. At the Flint Hills Discovery Center. Colonel Ladino Castillo took over command of Irwin Army Community Hospital last week in a ceremony at Fort Riley. Colonel Anthony Gray relinquished command to Castillo. Medical Readiness Command West Commander and Brigadier General Yolanda Summons praised Gray's leadership during a challenging period marked by personnel shortages, budget constraints, and modernization efforts. She highlighted his achievements in increasing medical readiness, appointment availability, and operating room utilization while making IACH the preferred hospital for beneficiaries in the community. Prior to his arrival at Fort Riley, Castillo served as the command surgeon for the 21st Theater Sustainment Command at Panzerkaserne, Germany from 2022 to 2024. A fellow at the American College of Cardiology, he served as the chief of Department of Medicine at Brooke Army Medical Center from 2020 to 2022. For the latest news headlines, head over to our website, newsradiokman.com.
I'm Troy Coverdale with a sports update from News Radio KMAN as K-Man's morning news continues. Nick Gordon's infield hit highlighted the Miami Marlins' late two-out rally as they claim a 2-1 win over the Royals last night. Otto Lopez doubled and scored the tying run when second baseman Michael Garcia threw wildly, having made a diving stop on Gordon's grounder.
I mean, that was a really tough play for Michael even to get to that ball, and, for Vinny to get to the bag, good runner, all those things factor in. I mean, Gordon got down the line hard. Would we like to make that play? Absolutely. But, it wasn't like a routine play. But for sure, I mean, those guys will be kicking themselves because they didn't make it.
Gordon later scored on Jazz Chisholm's infield single and Will Smith's throwing error. Starter Yonny Chirinos and four Marlin relievers retired 15 consecutive Royals at one point of the game before Salvador Perez singled with one out in the ninth.
He's got an interesting mix. He's got a sinker. He throws it at the top of the zone. He can get it under the barrel. He's got the slider and the split. So he's a challenging pitcher.
Royals manager Matt Quatraro on Chirinos, who was making just his second start of the season. He permitted a run on 3 hits and walked 3 while striking out 5 over 5. His counterpart, Seth Lugo, spun 4 hitless innings, allowing only a second inning walk. He finished on the night with 6 shutout frames, allowing 2 hits, 2 walks, and struck out 8. He now leads the majors with 110 innings pitched. 12 of his starts have gone at least 6 innings with no more than 2 runs allowed. That's most in the majors as well. The teams wrap up the series this afternoon at Kauffman Stadium. Coverage of the 110 contest at 12:30 on News Radio KMAN as the Royals will send Brady Singer to the bump. The Marlins call up right-hander Valente Balozzo for his Major League debut. Jim Schlossnagle, who built the Texas A&M baseball program into a national power in 3 years and led the Aggies to the brink of the national championship this season, is leaving to become the coach at arch-rival Texas. Schlossnagle and A&M officials announced he was leaving the school Tuesday without saying where he was going. Texas later confirmed Schlossnagle would be a Longhorn, where he's reunited with his former TCU boss, Chris Del Conte. Schlossnagle led the Aggies to the College World Series in 2 of his 3 seasons with the program. Texas A&M just missed its first national championship Monday when the Aggies dropped a best-of-3 series to SEC rival Tennessee in the CWS. He leaves to take over a Texas program that has a deep history of success, but no national titles since 2005. Schlossnagle will replace David Pierce, who was officially fired Monday after 8 seasons. The NCAA Division I Council voted Tuesday to remove cannabis products from the banned drug substance list, ending limits on how many football staffers can work with players on the field as well. The council said cannabis products don't provide a competitive advantage and that the focus is on the health and well-being of student athletes rather than punishing them for using cannabis. As for the additional coaches on field, it means teams are no longer limited to just the head coach and 10 assistants working with players at practices and games. The NBA draft opens tonight, its first round in Brooklyn. Atlanta is set for the first choice, but the mystery of who goes number 1 remains.
What I do love about this draft is all of these guys from 1 down to 25 are all guys that I think, 5 of them could end up being all-stars. In 2013, Anthony Bennett, we were not sure who Cleveland was going to take. They took a flyer on Anthony Bennett from UNLV, and he was as big a bust as Michael Olakandi years before. But that draft at 15 produced Giannis, and at 27 produced Rudy Gobert. And I think that'll be the same thing this year, whether it's a Bub Carrington from Pittsburgh, a Dalton Connect, Pacome Dacier, you like the way I said that, from France.
Very impressive.
Who's moving into the first round. It's going to be one of those drafts where we look back on it and say, holy crap, Dacier, the French kid, is an all-star. And we might not see it getting drafted until 2022, 23.
ESPN analyst Fran Fraschilla yesterday commenting on the 2-round event. The second round will take place tomorrow evening. Alex Murillo is walking away from ownership of the Arizona Coyotes, putting hockey's future in the desert further in doubt. Murillo's son, Alex Jr., told Coyote staff of the decision Monday. A person with knowledge of the move told the AP. Murillo's decision to walk away from the franchise comes 4 days after the Arizona State Land Department announced it would cancel an auction for a 110-acre tract of land in North Phoenix that was being targeted for a new arena. The ASLD canceled and reordered the steps for the auction on the tract of land, appraised at $68.5 million, citing the need for a special use permit for the project. Murillo had targeted the land for a new arena, but when the auction was pushed back until this summer, he followed the advice of the NHL and opted to sell the franchise to Jazz owners Ryan and Ashley Smith in April. The city of Jacksonville has approved a $1.4 billion stadium of the future that should keep the Jaguars in one of the NFL's smallest markets for at least another 30 years, ending decades of speculation about the franchise being a potential relocation candidate. The stadium proposal calls for each side to contribute $625 million to the $1.25 billion project. Jacksonville will not add any new taxes to fund the rebuild, but will chip in another $150 million in deferred maintenance to get the stadium ready for construction in 2026. Royals baseball at midday today as the Royals and Marlins wrap up their stint in Kansas City. Our coverage takes the air at 12:30 this afternoon. The game will follow at News Radio KMAN.